Hello everybody, welcome back. Okay, so exciting day. We're starting another project. Okay, so for this project what I'm doing is I'm using an old Reader's Digest book cover, the papers that I'm going to be using primarily are from this For the Record set from Echo Park. So here's the details for it, if that's something that you'd like to look for. I did find this at Tuesday Morning a while back. It's been a while though. I don't know if they still have it there. You might be lucky and find it, but it's been a good 6 months or so since I found it. So anyway, what we're doing today is I'll be painting some of the papers for this project, but I thought I'd kind of walk you through some of the bits of paper and things like that. So I've already gone through and picked out papers that I want to use, and let me just move this out of the way so that it's not taking up all the space. Okay, so here's some of the ephemera, and then on the back side this was a paper pack, so the back side is actually the cover of the paper pack. But I just really love the colors of this, and kind of looking at the cover of the book, I think that it'll look really cool when it's all said and done. So kind of muted colors, but at the same time, there's bright reds, greens, and blues, and yellows. So, yeah, I think this will be a really fun one to work with. So, got a lot of fun pieces. I love the florals, and obviously the typewriter feel of things is always a lot of fun. So, there's some of those pieces. And then, I'll move this out of the way. So here's just a quick glance at some of the papers that I'm planning on using. I pulled this out of a book about surveying when they're making new roads or just, you know, buildings and stuff. So this was an old textbook from, I don't even remember how old it is. This is probably from like the 40s or 50s. And then, yeah, this is from the same, is it from the same? Yeah, it's from the same book. So, just really love the paper. I think I'll be painting these. So I'm going to set these aside over here so that we can make sure and do that. Here's a quick look at some of the papers that'll be going on the inside of the book. So lots of really fun designs. Love the polka dot. Some more polka dots, and then it's got an old-timey, old-fashioned look to it. So ledger. So yeah, this particular pad just really lent itself to coffee dyed papers and just old-fashioned looking types of ephemera. So that's what I plan to do with it. And so then of course we've got lovely coffee dyed papers that will be a part of it. This is from a really old book. This is naturally that color. This is also from a really old book, a children's book. It's kind of like you just add water and then the colors are supposed to appear. So I don't know if you can really see the tone of yellow on that page. So just really interesting, really old, got some really old music books. So I thought I'd use those. I don't know if I'm going to paint these or not. We'll put those in the maybe pile. Some old ledger paper. This is from a ledger from like the 1940s that I've got. Some more coffee dyed paper. And then we'll have some lightweight shipping papers, like a craft paper. And then I took some gesso and I added the gesso to it, which gives it a lot of interest, which I really love. Here we've got some newsprint type paper, which I will be adding some paint to those. And then this is a lighter weight, it's like a drawing paper. It's kind of a cream color and ivory color, and it is a little bit see-through. I don't know if you can really see my hand through that, but thought I'd add some paint to those as well. Maybe not all of them. Maybe I'll keep 2 of them aside. Some more of that. And then this one doesn't have any gesso added to it, so actually let's put that on that pile. Here's a book page that I put a napkin on, a decoupage napkin onto it, and then the back side is just white gesso. You know, I might add a little bit of paint to the inside of this, so we'll put that over there. Here we have some kids writing paper. I just love the feel of it. I love writing on this paper, so we'll keep that the way it is. I don't want to add any paint. Some more coffee dyed paper here and here, just from different notebooks that I've got. I love the little end, you know, the end pieces that I didn't tear it out. Actually, I removed the spiral without tearing the paper, which I love the way that this turns and looks in books. So some more of that craft color paper and more of the writing paper. Here's another, it's from a really old children's book, and if you can see here, the way that they bound it was very different from a lot of books that I've seen. Instead of the sewing being done on the very spine, they poked holes right here, and it worked. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. But it was just a different way of binding the book. So I think I might go ahead and add some paint to both of these. Obviously I don't want to cover up this lovely picture, but the rest of this I think could use a little bit of paint. This is from the same book, and I just love this illustration. I'm not sure how I want to do this yet, but I don't know if you can really see. There's a fairy, there's a couple fairies there, or maybe I guess they're called brownies in the book, but I don't want to paint this one. I want to leave this one the way it is. We've got some dictionary pages, and I just chose at random. I didn't look for any particular words or anything, but I thought we could add a little bit of paint to these, and these could be used as actual book pages, or maybe also just decoration on backs of some of the journaling cards, because obviously we don't want to have this on the back. You can't really write on that, so I'll use some of these extra papers to cover those. Here we've got a little bit more of this really old music paper. So this is pretty crispy. I don't know how well it would hold up. I will obviously need to reinforce the spine if I do use it as a page in the book, but actually I was thinking this could be really fun to be used on the back of journaling cards as well, or some other way of decorating in the book. And then finally, this is from an old book I have about Charles Dickens, that the paintings are just really fun. And then this one happens to be, yeah, see how spotted this is? And it smells old. Smells real old. So this is really lovely aging too here. So again, I'll have to reinforce this probably with some ribbon or something, but I just really fell in love with some of these images, and I thought that they would go well with the papers that I chose. So the image here doesn't go with this little snippet of story, but so I don't know, I might cover that with something and do a collage or something, but same with this one. I don't know if that, well, maybe this one does go with that, so I might leave that alone. I don't know, we'll have to see. But anyway, these won't be used in what I do today. So today, what I thought I'd do is kind of show you how I do my acrylic pages. Since I've done a few journals lately with using that technique, I thought maybe you guys might want to see how I go about doing that, and if that was something that you guys wanted to do in your own books as well. This is the way that I do it, so you know, we all learn from each other, and yeah. So basically what I do is I start with, obviously I've picked out the papers that I thought I wanted to add the color to. I've gone ahead and picked this one. It's by Deco Art, and the color Fawn. It's Americana. I got this from Hobby Lobby, I guess, on clearance. So I need to stir it up a little bit. And then my tool is just my old, it's just an old credit card. And then I just try to clean it as well as I can after every time I use it. And then obviously my surface is different than the one that you usually see. You usually see me working on the aqua green colored one, for cutting paper, and you can cut paper on this too. I just don't feel I have as much control when I use this one for cutting paper. But this is the Tim Holtz Tonic Studios glass media mat, I think is what they call it. And I really like using this for when I'm doing any kind of wet media, or you know, that kind of thing. So after I use it, I try to clean it off as well as I possibly can. I didn't do a very good job, I guess, this last time. There's still a little bit of glue here and there, so I do try to get as many of the bumps off of the surface as I can, because actually having those bumps, sometimes it could affect the way that your paint goes down. You'll maybe get something happening on your paper there. So okay, so I'm going to start with, I think, one of these newspaper print ones. I just kind of want to see how the paint goes into the page, and from there I'll feel more comfortable with what's going on. So actually, let me just double check that it, oh yep, so this needs to be pulled out of there. It's really stuck. Yuck. Okay. Come on out of there. Alright, well, we'll use that. I'm going to throw this part away. And I don't know if you noticed, but I always try to have some baby wipes or something that I can wipe my hands off with, because obviously this is going to be pretty messy. I'm not looking for absolute cleanliness here. I have a trash can right next to me over here on the floor. But I do try to keep as clean as I possibly can. Okay, you're all probably like, come on, Tam, just let's get going. So here we go. Let me wipe my fingers off here really quick. My fingers will get dirty by the end of this anyway, but if I can keep them clean a little bit for right now, that'll help me out. So, okay, set those aside. And so I've already basically got some paint on, and now I'm just gonna move it around with my credit card, and that's pretty much it. I might actually just go ahead and turn on some music and have you watch me do it that way. So something I didn't do this time, which I probably should have, is I didn't lay down a piece of paper to catch all the off paint. So I'm going to go ahead and clean this up really quick. And then usually on my table, what I'll do is I'll just set out something to kind of hold on to these pages while they dry. So I'm actually going to do that too. Alright, I have a few things I need to move before I do that. Finishing up some other projects and whatnot. Okay, so I'm going to just grab a piece of paper from this book here, from this paper pad, and something that I think that this color might look good on the back of. I did actually consider using some of this in this book, but in the end I decided no, I don't think I want to do that. Here we go. We'll see if I even ever use this or not. But by using a piece of paper like this to kind of catch a lot of your paint going off the edges, it will then when this is done, you'll be able to use it for another project. So, or if you have an art journal or something that you're already working on, this will be a great way to add to your art journal. So if I were doing more than one color, super easy, I would just have a couple paint bottles sitting here and just add the paint as I feel necessary. So okay, we've kind of got a lot going on. I got a lot of extra paint on there already, so I'm going to set that aside and I'm going to pick a different paint. And we'll reuse some of that paint. So I love this color. It's like a kind of a camel color, and kind of drag some of that over onto this other piece of paper. It's kind of up to you on how much of the paper you want to cover with the paint. I happen to like leaving some of the paper blank. I think it kind of creates more interest that way. So actually this side I actually kind of like a lot. I'll probably add a little bit more here, but I also like this and how you can kind of see the lines happening from the way that the paint is laid on. So okay, so basically over here I'm just gonna set these because I'm doing pretty thin layers, they're gonna dry pretty fast, and by the time I'm done adding paint to the set of papers I've got already out, they should be dry, and I can then do the back sides. So that's pretty much it. I think what I'll do is put you on fast forward and turn on a little bit of music, and we'll meet back up at the end. All right. welcome back. Okay, so I'm looking through these papers and I like them, but at the same time I kind of feel like the color of them is a little bit poopy brown. I just feel like they could have more depth and interest. So I think what I'm going to try is adding some watercolor in a darker brown or even a black maybe. I pulled out a couple different ones. So this is the only one that I actually really don't want to mess with. If you remember, this is the one that has the napkin on the back, and then I had already added gesso, white gesso to it, and then when I was working I pulled out, this is just an old bottle from a long time ago, and I just I add my own water to these, so I use these instead of the ones that you can buy specifically for art, because they work just as well. I think the mist is really fine. It's a really fine mist. So and when they stop working, I'm not so worried about it because I didn't spend any extra money on them. Anyway, I'm gonna leave this one the way it is because I like the way that this one turned out. I could add more to it, but I don't think it really needs it, so we'll go ahead and leave that one alone. And then I didn't show this on camera, but here was the piece of paper that we were using to kind of catch all of our extra paint on, and I added more paint to this to kind of fill it in because it looked okay the way it was, and it would have been fine that way, but I just thought a little bit extra wouldn't hurt anything. So alright, so basically what I've got is I've got some Tim Holtz Distress Stain in Ground Espresso, and then I've got this Distress Paint in Black Soot, which I actually have never used this before, so I'm not quite sure what to expect with this, and maybe I shouldn't start with the darkest color. You know, we'll sacrifice a few of these pages to do a little bit of testing with, and I don't know that I don't really ever have terrible accidents, so if I have to throw a piece of paper away at the end of it, oh well, but I'm not too worried about that. So here we have, most of these are Jane Davenport mermaid markers, and then I also have some I don't know how you pronounce that, Bria Reese. So I pulled these out because I like, oh, yep, this is messy. Because I like this darker one. It's basically almost black, and there is some glitter, I believe, in these too. So this one's nice too, but it's kind of got a yellow tint to it, which I don't think is really going to help us out. And this one's supposed to be gold, but it's not really gold. These also need to be really shook up too. So I pulled these out just in case we might want to use this darker one. And then I also have this. This is, let's see, straight from Japan. And they're basically, so purple black, brown black, green black, blue black, no, this is red black, this is the purple black, and then another brown black. Sorry, I'm not in the middle of the screen here. Oh, here, yep. So reddish black, yellow, green, blue, purple, and brown. I will figure out where I got these from, and I'll have a link to that in the description box below if this is something that you might be interested in. This one I've used a lot of, you can tell. If you saw any of my Halloween journals from this last year, this is the color that I used in a lot of those. So yeah, I really like this set. If I run out of these, I will definitely be getting more. I want to say these are Kiritake Gansei Tambi, but I'm not 100% sure. I think they are, but I'll put the link down below in the description. And then I also pulled out some more Jane Davenport, and these are super bright. I don't know that I'll be using any. Well, so that's ink, but that's more of a blue. I don't know that I want to use that, but these are real bright. But I was thinking probably I might find a good color in this set. Maybe like the Raven, or actually the Cocoa might be a good one. So I think maybe I'll start with this set and see how it goes. And I'll go ahead and do my practicing on this piece of paper here. So trying to figure out what I did with my brush. These are a little bit small, so I don't want to use those. Let's see. Set some of this stuff aside. Here we go. This is the one that I want. Okay. Here's my brush. It's a Princeton Neptune size 8. And I love the tip of this. This is for watercolor. Okay. Let me go ahead and get started. Like I said, I'm probably gonna try a couple of these and see how it goes, and we'll go from there. So, sorry, just getting the brush wet first, and then I'm going to wet my color here. And actually, I think I'm going to prep the surface by just adding a little bit of water. And I'm just basically going to kind of dab some of this paint on. And sorry, I'm trying to use my new setup, and I'm trying to get used to how it works. Alright, so add a little bit more water. I'm just going to kind of move the paint around a little bit. I don't mind this. It's not my favorite. Obviously, this is acrylic paint, so this is not really set up for let me move this over here so I don't keep doing that. It's not really set up for, it's not like gesso, so it's not really meant to be used for a background, I guess, color. Okay, I'm going to dab some of this stain on here and then use my paintbrush to and again, basically what I'm doing is I'm just trying to get a little bit of extra interest. Actually, I like the color of this. The color of brown is nice on top of this other brown. What I don't like is the method of application. It's not going to be super easy to add. So I guess there's that one. Now this one, like I said, is a complete mystery. I don't really know what to expect with this one. I'm going to close that up because I don't think I'm going to use that one. And it sounds like you need to shake it up, so I'm going to go ahead and shake it up. I'm guessing I don't need very much. Yeah. Take this off. Oh boy, that is very black. Okay. Just go ahead and add a little bit here. This might be good combined with another color maybe. Yep, I'm already messy. I knew I was gonna do this. Okay, so this is paint. This isn't exactly probably the right paintbrush to use, but let's go ahead and kind of let that move around a little bit and see what it does. Well, it's definitely darker than I'm really going after. It's not really what I want, but I'm not going to waste it, so let me see. Let me grab this piece here. We'll go ahead and add a little bit more water, kind of spread it around on the mat here, and then do the smooshing technique and pick that up. Ooh, that's dark. Okay, good to know. We'll keep that for another project probably. I don't know that I'll be using it on this one. I mean, I like it. It's interesting for sure. I'm just gonna try this, see what it looks like. Yeah, that's interesting. I'll put that aside and I'll keep that for something else. So, and then obviously this project we'll be using for something else as well. I'm gonna just let that dry. Let's see. I don't want to waste this. I'm gonna go ahead and dip this in that too. Let that kind of soak it up. Ooh, I kind of like that. That's interesting. Do the same on this side. So that's one of the reasons I like working with this multimedia mat by Tonic. Okay, so I don't like that side as much, but we can add a little bit of water and kind of smooth that out and just kind of let that sit for a minute, and I'll come back to that. Meanwhile, we've got some rivers going on here. I kind of make that run down the page just a little bit. This might become a nice art journal background. We'll see. Alright, I'm gonna grab a cloth and kind of clean this up a little bit so it doesn't contaminate the other color. Just because I don't know what these colors are going to look like with each other, so normally I wouldn't care so much about that, but I just want to keep it clean so I know what colors I'm actually getting. Alright, let me move this around this way. I'll work with this cleaner spot over here. And let's go ahead and see what, woo! That's not good. Okay, so this is, shoot. 71019. I'm thinking that's green. Oh, that's this, and that's this. I'm all thumbs today, you guys. I'm not usually like this. Alright. Wipe that off. Okay. So I'm thinking the greenish black will not look so good. Oh yeah, see, I don't know if you can really see the colors happening here, but I don't like the brown undertone from the first Distress Stain. This ground espresso just doesn't really seem to look very nice. So I'm going to rule this one out for sure. I don't think I want to use that. I'm going to go ahead and try the brownish black and then also the greenish black and see what those look like. Oops. So let me just go ahead and spray a little bit and kind of prep the... Alright, that's got a lot of pigment to it. So spread that around a little bit. So this is the brownish black, which if I was going to pick one, it'd probably be this one. But again, this is a little bit darker than I was really kind of going for. Yeah, definitely got a lot of pigment going on. And it's just making it look kind of dirty, which is not really what I wanted for this particular journal, because ultimately I feel like the pages from the paper pad are happy colors, and I don't really want to put a bunch of moody colored papers along with it. So probably not going to go that direction. So alright, I'm gonna say no to these. The greenish black is interesting to me, but I don't think it's going to be quite right for this particular project, so I'll put these away and we'll save those for another project some other time. And then let me pull, I'm going to switch my papers around a little. Oh, actually I got a little bit left over here, so I'll use this little section here. So I had pulled this one out. This is the Bria Reese ink, and again we got a whole lot of ink happening. Okay, so that's more of a cool undertone, and I don't really like the way that that is working with the brown warm undertones either, so clean that up. It's not bad, it's just, I don't know if you can kind of see here. So this is what we just added, and it's got like blue undertones to it. And then down here, this is what we added before. This was the Tim Holtz Black Soot, and it's got a brown undertone to it, which I think will work better with our brown that we've already had. Oh, you know what? I forgot about this one. So this is the Jane Davenport, it's the color Reef, which is brown. So let me go ahead, and I haven't used this in a long time. Let me go ahead and see what this will look like. This one might work really well actually. So I'm gonna set this aside and let this dry. And I'm gonna pull out another sheet of paper here. Kind of running out of room. Alright, so this was some of that black soot that was left over from over here. So I'm gonna just spray the surface just a little bit with the water, just so that it has somewhere to go. And then I'm just gonna there we go. Trying to get the ink to come through. I just want to add a drop, but I haven't used this in so long. I don't know if it's really gonna, it's pretty dry. Oh, I feel an accident happening. I can feel it. Okay, I'm gonna pause and I'm gonna mess with this a little bit and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. I took it apart and there was like it had dried enough that there was like chunks of paint on the inside of the barrel here. So that's why it wasn't doing anything. Okay, so I dropped a couple little drops onto the paper, and immediately I'm already seeing there's kind of like a reddish undertone to this, which I don't hate, but again, I don't really feel like it's quite right for this particular journal. Yeah, it's kind of turning red, which isn't really the look that I was going for. So I'm gonna say no to this one as well. And I'm just gonna move this around a little bit and kind of spread out the color. And we'll save this paper again for another project another time. And put this aside. Alright, so this is kind of collecting in the middle of the page. Actually, This is really interesting. Okay, I'm going to put this away because I'm not going to use that. This is really interesting. I kind of really like what's happening here. I think in the end, I think this distress paint is probably what I want to go ahead with. To kind of get some of the extra pulled up, I'm just going to lay another sheet of paper down. Yeah, that's cool. And I'll keep working. It's still a little darker than I wanted, but I don't think it's too bad. I can help it with spraying it with water to kind of spread that ink around a little bit. And then I'll just sop some of that up with the other side. So I don't know, I've not taken like actual, I mean, I guess I've taken a couple of art classes here and there in high school and one or two in college, but nothing ever really serious. I just kind of go by gut and what I'm seeing and what I'm liking. So I don't know, I guess I'm kind of just taking you along with me on this little ride. Okay, so I just wanted to show you really quick. So here is the Bria Reese color that I was not loving the tone of. It's more of a cool. I don't know if you can really see that, but there's all kinds of glitter in that. And I always forget that those are glittered. And then afterwards I'm like, oh, that's a lot of glitter. So, okay, so I'm going to move my stuff around so I have more of a space to work. And try and not have inky paper fall on my carpet, on my floor, which is always a good, you know, goal to have. All right. Okay. So I got some really wet pieces of paper going on here. So we'll have some interesting outcomes at the end for sure. So basically what I'm going to do is, let's see, this one is not the one with the picture. Pretty much what I'm going to do is, let's see, I don't really want very much of this, so I'm going to set this to the side and kind of just grab some water and pull it out like this. And then, ooh, yeah, that's a lot. So we'll work with that for first, and then I'll just, I don't really want to see my brush strokes after it's all said and done, so I'm just going to kind of move the paint around like this, and then eventually it'll just kind of sit, and I'll let it drip onto the next page and let that absorb a little bit of the extra. Yeah, see, this is better. This is kind of more what I was going for. I just wanted a little bit more interest. So now I'm just going to set this aside to dry, and I'll work on this one. So a little bit goes a long way with this paint, I guess, especially with the black. So all right, now I'm going to grab the next page and I'm going to take up some of this paint on both sides, I guess. Do the smushing technique. I think Christina Werner, I don't know if you watch her, she does this a lot with her card making. And when it dries, it won't be this dark. You'll still see some of the black, but it'll kind of work itself out, if that makes any sense. So actually, let me get it. So this is pretty much my process, I guess. So I'm gonna just keep doing this, kind of swirling the paint around, and letting it fall wherever it goes, and taking the next page, picking some of it up, and yeah, adding some more interest with this darker color here. So I think I'll go ahead and put you back on fast forward and let some music roll, and we'll keep going. Alrighty, okay, so I'm back. These are basically dry, and so I thought I'd just kind of show you the outcome of what we did. So I guess I started this video with the intent on showing you how I do the acrylic painting with a card, and as is usual, I kind of improvise as I go, because you know, if I'm not really liking something, I'm gonna do whatever I want to, whatever I need to do to make it look better. And so that's kind of what we did. All right, so These are the newspaper print ones, so these really sucked in a whole lot of water, so these are still a little bit damp, but basically that's kind of what these are looking like. I'll be 100% honest, I'm not loving these right now. I may end up doing a little bit more with them. I'm not quite sure. I'm going to let them dry completely though and see, and maybe I'll put them with the other papers that I'm intending to use in the journal. This one is really interesting. So this was the craft colored shipping paper, and I love this side where you can see the acrylic paint pattern, and then the way that the watercolor just seeped in, or I guess it was not watercolor, it was just distress paint. The way that it was just kind of seeping in around the actual paint, you can see the strokes in the paint. So I thought that turned out really interesting. I'll keep this one for sure. I'm probably not going to do anything with that. These ended up looking better than the other ones, I think. I like the way that the paint kind of dried. So this one, I'm trying to remember. Oh, this was probably this. So this was maybe, I need to go back and look. I don't think I got these put back quite the right way. I need to check, because that's probably not green. Anyway, this one has kind of a reddish purple tint to it. I don't know how well you can see that there. But oh yeah, you can see it better on this side. So the coloring of it is pretty nice, but I probably won't use it in this book because the coloring is not quite right for this book. But here's this one. So I need to kind of hurry. My battery's gonna die pretty soon on me. So anyway, it's really fun to see how all the different types of paper will accept the different kinds of paint. I'm experimenting in my mind, kind of thinking maybe I want to try adding a darker color of acrylic paint to these, just to see what what will happen. Of brown, not black. I think there's enough of that. But I want to keep it so that it's still, you can write on it. I'm also kind of in my mind thinking about doing some gesso over it and seeing what that'll look like. But anyway, here's what our experiment piece ended up looking like. So you can definitely see the different tones of colors throughout here, and then the glitter over here. Here's the back side of it in case you're curious. Some of the black kind of did come through, but because of the way that the photo is, I don't know that you would really notice that too much. And actually, I think it's kind of cool. So anyway, that was a fun little experiment for us today. Yeah, I probably will come back over some of this with maybe a different color of paint or just white gesso and kind of see what happens. So, okay, well, I hope you had a good time experimenting with some painting with me. And I will see you all again very soon in the next video. Bye. Hey everybody, alright, so I'm back. So just a quick minute, I went ahead and kept messing around to see what I could come up with, and so I went back to my bag of tricks, and I looked for some gesso. So I went ahead and opened this one. I haven't used this brand yet. This is Master's Touch from Hobby Lobby. It's just their cheap brand of acrylic gesso. And I was using, well, I still am using Liquitex Basics, which obviously Liquitex is going to be more for more professional, it's going to be for your professional artists and, you know, student artists and people who are truly artists. And it's great for journals, don't get me wrong. It's just, it's got a little bit of a gritty texture to it. And this one actually does not. It left it kind of a little bit smoother, which I actually kind of prefer that for journals. So it's nice that it's a little bit less expensive, and then obviously too, if you use your Hobby Lobby coupon, you can get 40% off of that. So so anyway, that's what this page ended up being. But then I forgot that I had this, which I had picked this up from Tuesday Morning, looks like back in April of 2017, but I know I've seen it there a few other times. This is the Folk Art Mixed Media. It's transparent acrylic soft gel paint, so in the color sepia. And so what it does is it makes a sheer coverage. It's really good for, I've used this for journals where I accidentally ripped the page and you could see like the white inside of the paper, you know, surrounded by the darkness. So I've used this to cover those mistakes before. So it creates a translucent layered effects for paper, crafting, journals, and mixed media. And then it says it dries to a velvety smooth satin finish. So this works really well, and actually that's kind of what I ended up using on the rest of the papers. So let me just go ahead and I'll show you. Okay, so this one I did do with the white gesso over all of it, and don't get me wrong, I do like this. I think it's really interesting, and I will definitely use this in a different journal, but not for this one. I think for this one I kind of wanted to keep the papers a little bit darker. So I went ahead and I used this mixed media gel paint to cover the inside of this, and actually I really like how this turned out. It's a little bit darker, of course, but you can definitely still write over this, and it will make a great background if you want to like put some photos or something on there. So this is the newspaper print, which, like I said, it really sucks in all of your paint and whatever medium you're using. Sorry, I'm seeing this is a little bit shiny right there for some reason, and I'm not sure what's on that. So this I don't actually love. It's okay. I would say if I had to do these again, I would probably go with this version instead of this one. But you know, if I decide that that's what I want to do at the end, then I may still go ahead and do that. But the way that they feel is it's really nice and soft. It's kind of hard to describe. So here's the dictionary page, and I just like how grungy and kind of worn and dirty this turned out. Here was the craft paper, the packing paper. So again, you can still see where the acrylic paint was, but and especially on this side. But then just overall, everything's just a little bit darker. And basically, I think what I like the most about it, and this is a really good page to show you, this didn't get covered with the gel paint, but then this right here, you can see this is the gel paint here. So it just kind of took this color of brown and made it just a little bit darker, and kind of a richer color. So yeah, so and then here's the back, so you can see still the black is still showing through, and I just think it made it a lot more interesting. This is the one that had kind of the purpley red colors kind of coming through. I kind of hid that a little bit, kind of successfully. I may or may not use this page or that piece for this journal, but we'll see. Here I pretty much covered most of this sheet music with the sepia colored paint, but you can see the original color of the paper right here showing through, and then there's the black and then the sepia, and I just, yeah, again, I just think it made it really rich looking. Same with this. So this is still a little bit not wet, but it's really humid, and it's a little sticky in here right now. So I'll be turning my air conditioner on again this week, and yeah, see, I kind of pulled away some of the paper, so I'm gonna have to fix that. But this, yeah, it just feels really good. It feels really soft. I just really like how this turned out, so it's really interesting. So yeah, so just quickly show you the rest of these. I really love this one. And then finally, I did cover this entire sheet again with the sepia colored translucent paint, and you can see here how it's the paper sucked it into it, and so it's a little bit darker there than it is maybe some other places on here. But again, it just kind of made it a whole lot more interesting looking, I think. So another angle, and then it doesn't show through to the other side. Yeah, really nothing's changed. This was part of the original photo, so yeah. So I think I'm satisfied. I think in the end this is a win. It took a little bit longer than I originally intended, but I think I'm pretty much happy with the way that these turned out. And if they're still not quite right for this particular journal, I'll definitely be using them in other journals. So it's definitely not a waste. But anyway, I'll say goodbye, and hope you all have a wonderful rest of your evening, and I will talk to you again very soon. Bye.